Hello, all you bucks and does and kits out there. Welcome to Wild Thang Art Academy art class. Today we are going to paint this cute little bunny. And by the way, Bucks is a male bunny, Doe is a female bunny, and Kit is a baby or child bunny. I was not aware of that. I had to look that up myself. So welcome. This little bunny, this reference photo is included in your download, so be sure and download that. It's beneath this class. And copy this off. Now, I like to paint on a white canvas, a white background, but if you want to put this beautiful yellow color in, feel free to do so, or any other color that you like. So make this bunny your own. He's so adorable. I have also transferred him onto my canvas, and what I'm painting on is a little 12 by 12 canvas panel. You feel free to paint on or draw or paint on a sketch pad if you're using watercolors. If not, feel free to just use any surface. I had a friend of mine that used a board surface, which is perfectly fine. Whatever works for you and whatever supplies you have. I have included the supply list below in the downloads, and this template to transfer your bunny onto the canvas is also included. Also, if you're not sure how to transfer your image onto the canvas, please be sure and go back to collections, fundamentals, and there's a video there on how to transfer your image onto canvas. So everything's supplied. Now, to be prepared for class, have your paper towels out to clean your brushes, a water. I use a puck, paint puck is what it's called. Let's see if I can get a better view over here where I'm at. A little pink puck for my water, but feel free to just use a jar. That's perfectly fine. I've used that many, many times as well. Have your paints ready. In Wild Thang Art Academy, we start with these colors always: magenta, blue, yellow, white, and black. I am using the supplies golden paints of golden magenta, quinacridone magenta, golden phthalo blue red shade, and Liquitex Indian yellow, Liquitex white, titanium white, and Liquitex Mars black. Feel free to use whatever you've got. Perfectly fine. Just follow along the same kind of colors that I'm using and you should be just fine. If you don't want to use the same colors, that's perfectly fine too, because remember, this bunny is your bunny, so you're here to just bring out that creative spirit and enjoy this process. So first we're going to start off and we're going to take a look at our bunny, and we're just going to take a nice deep breath in. And on your exhale, I want you to let go of any preconceived ideas of what you think your bunny needs to look like. We want to let that go. So your bunny is going to be your creative muse at work. I want you to feel free, flowing, able to create and enjoy this process without any preconceived ideas or judgment on your painting, because we were all made to create. Let this painting be a unique expression of you. So let's begin. Okay, so first off, as I always do in Wild Thang Academy, we're going to start with our dark blue. So we're going to take the dark blue. In my case, I'm using golden phthalo blue. It's the red shade of phthalo blue. And we're going to base in the areas of dark. So I always like to layer colors on top of an eye. Dark gives depth. So think about the blue is a cool shade. The cool dark blue will add depth when you apply colors on top of it. So we're going to base in this bunny's eyes. There's a little bit of dark in the furry ear part, and there's a little bit of dark on this mouth here, and a little dark in the corners of her or his nose. I don't know if this is a little buck bunny or a little doe bunny, but I'm going to call her because she looks awfully feminine. So what I was looking at is these areas of dark. So we're going to be basing in that. So I want you to grab your blue. I'm going to use a little number 8 brush. It's a little scrubby brush. I don't use fancy brushes. I just use whatever I've got on hand. So let's get started. Grab your blue. And let's go ahead and let's base in her eye. I've kind of given you an outline of where the pupil is at, but we're going to go ahead and just base this in over it. Also, a lot of times I outline, and we'll do that as soon as we're done basing this eye in. We're going to outline her in magenta. All right, let's go ahead and clean that brush. And let's grab any brush will do. You can use either a little liner brush like this or a little flat brush and turn it up on its edge, and that makes a nice line as well. So any brush will do. And let's take our little liner brush or whatever you're going to use as a liner brush. Let's put it into the magenta paint, the pink paint. And let's go ahead and let's draw. All we have to do is pull it out like that. So the paint is nice and thin on the brush. So let's go ahead and let's block in or draw over the lines that we have on her. Now we're letting the eye set up here. So we're going to leave that alone for just a moment. And the reason why I want it to set up is I want that paint to dry so we can layer on top of it without that blue bleeding into the colors we apply on top. And this right here is the little hair on her ears that I just kind of blocked in for you. Rabbits are so cute. And it's summertime here in Missouri, and we have bunnies everywhere. And there's nothing cuter than a bunny. And if you have bunnies, feel free to make this bunny the color of your bunnies. I know they have Angora bunnies that you can make sweaters and socks out of their furs. I watch a lady all the time brushing her Angora rabbits and then spinning the hair, or I guess it's hair you get off of them, or fur, I'm not really sure. And she spins it into yarn and then makes clothing out of it, and it's just gorgeous. But that bunny sure acts like it enjoys getting brushed. So if you have bunnies, I would love to see a picture posted in our community area, because I would love to see them, and who knows, we may paint your bunny, if that's what you want, in one of our classes. Now in the template, I included all the whiskers. When I put it on the canvas, I did not include those whiskers. So certainly a personal choice. I'll include those whiskers after we're done painting the bunny. That'll be one of the last things we put in. So go ahead and outline all your areas here. With this pink paint. And the reason why we're outlining this with the pink paint is that when we start putting color on top, this will peek through in some areas and add more interest to the painting itself. Just adds a unique element. All right, there we go. Now that we're done with that, or you can pause this and catch up to me, then we're going to go ahead and let's start back with the blue again. So I'm going to get my blue again, and I'm look at the areas of dark on this bunny. So I'm looking at the dark area here in the fur and the dark area here. There's a dark area right there on the forehead. There's some dark areas right here around the nose and the mouth, and then here in her fur. So that's what I'm going to be blocking in. Just kind of looking at the dark areas. Remember, we're always going to go on top of it. And I'm kind of, the way I'm using my brush is, there's a little dark area right here. Sorry, I keep getting distracted by things I see. So the way I'm using my brushes, I'm kind of just, I'm not putting lines in, I'm just kind of like, if you can see how I'm using my brush, I'm not doing one streak. We don't want lines in our paintings. We want nice artistic strokes. So think about using artistic strokes and patting this paint in. Not particularly caring for the brush I'm using. It's a little soft. I need a little bit stiffer of a brush. And there's a little dark area. Anywhere where you're seeing this little ear on this side kind of folds over a little bit, so we're going to add some shadow right there. And there's a little dark. And I'm seeing kind of the shape of her face and kind of going with that. And she's a little dark underneath her chin here where her face kind of makes a shadow. So we're going to fill that in. And then I had put in some lines, just some areas where she was a little darker, that you can put blue on top of those areas. And then when we put her lighter grays on top of this, that will peek through and add depth. It tricks the eye. All right, now I'm going to block in the mid-tone colors. So, well, let's go ahead and do a magenta. Let's go ahead and take some red. The red is another dark color. The red, I'm calling the magenta the red. It is another dark color that I add depth to. So we have some depth in her ears and just some areas here that we can go ahead. Red is or the pink, the magenta is a warm color. So the blue is the cool shadows, and the red is the warmer shadow. So let's go ahead and block that in that area of the ear, and look at your reference photo, because you will see things differently than I do. And it's important that this rabbit comes out looking the way you see it. So you'll see things differently than I will. So make your rabbit an expression of your view of the world. All right, and then there's a little, let's fill in this little area right here. Little part of its nose, so cute. And then there's a little bit of right here, which I had laid in the blue, which is perfectly fine. And I'm going to put a little shadow where its cheeks kind of overfold its mouth. It's so cute. Adorable. And then it has a little, in my opinion, some pink areas, some warm shadows up in here, and a little and as we're laying the base color on top of this, it will just add a little bit more depth to that coloring. And I'm just kind of going around seeing where I see little shades of pink. Now I took this photograph. I didn't take the photograph itself. I pulled the photograph off of a royalty-free site, so it's perfectly legal to use. But I saturated the colors a lot so that we can more easily determine where we would like to lay in different colors. Because in Wild Thing, it's all about color, popping colors in unusual places. But we want to get the colors pretty correct to what you're seeing, but we just want to pop them up a bit. All right, so now let's make a gray and start applying some on top of it. We're going to make two colors, several colors of gray actually. And I'm going to switch to this Filbert number 4. This one I'm going to switch to. And let's make a gray. So I'm going to take this black here in the center, and I'm going to mix some white with it. And we're going to make a darker gray, and we can lighten this up as we go along. Now, I like to mix my paints with my brush because I like the variations in the paints. However, if you would rather mix with a palette knife looks like this. So if you would like to mix with a palette knife, feel free to do so. I just prefer mixing it with my brush to get the variations. And we're going to lay some of this gray tones on top here. And we're going to just remember, don't smooth it out. This bunny is hairy, so we want to kind of just block it in. And we're avoiding around the eyes. Those are white. And we're just going to block in some of this color to start filling in this rabbit. And think about how the hair is growing on that rabbit. So as you noticed, I was moving my brush up when I was brushing the forehead. And as you go around this rabbit, notice the hair grows around the face, so down and around the face. So that's what I'm doing. I'm blocking in and laying in trying to go in the direction. So around here it gets a little tricky because it kind of goes like that. So think about the direction that the hair is going on your bunny, and then try to do your paintbrush in those same directions. So let's do the same with this. It goes. I want to make sure my head doesn't get in the way. I have a tendency to get my head in the way. I get into it and forget I'm teaching, and I'll stick my head right in the camera. And you don't want to see that. All right, so there's that. Let's go ahead and lay some down here. And we're just brushing it. Think about the direction the hair is going once again on the body. It's all kind of going. And now when I get down here, the focus is up on the head. I like to get real artistic with my brush strokes and just make some swoopy, broad strokes, suggesting so that it draws the eye up. And a lot of times I like to leave some of that blue and magenta really just showing through. All right, let's go up to the ears and let's block in some of this gray in the ears. And like I said, I'm just patting this in, and I'm going to leave the center alone. I'm just going to go in the outer parts where the fur is. In the inner parts, you can almost see like light reflecting through those ears. And then this is where that white hair is sticking out, so I'm going to leave that alone. But I'm going to bring a little bit of gray inside right there. And then there. And then let's do the other ear. Remember which direction the hair is going. So look at your reference photo and determine which direction the hair is growing, and then take your brush strokes in those same directions. All right, let's make up another lighter color. So I'm just going to add a little more white to my gray. So we're going to make a lighter gray. So I just took a corner of my white area, or my gray area that I already mixed up, and I just added white to it. And we're going to go in and start laying some lighter grays in. So I'm seeing some right here underneath. And we want to remember, again, the direction of that hair. How's it going? And kind of go in that direction. I always like to say, make an interesting mark. So I just made an interesting mark there. Make your mark. It adds interest and adds your own personality to it as well. Go up here and add a little more white. Kind of gets white, or like where the eye area is. It's kind of, but it goes this way. There's a little, He's got little specks of white in him. Again, if you find yourself judging your painting, try not to think. Catch your judge and say, go away. We don't want to think, we just want to do, if that makes sense. Don't let your inner your inner critic, botch this up for you, because it will. It's always, our brains will try to jump in there and really sabotage our paintings. See a little bit of green right there. And this is the part that I always say is the scary part, because you look at it and you go, oh, that doesn't look right. Don't let that happen. It's okay. It's the process of painting. All right, so we're going to stop there, and now we're going to start working on the eyes, the nose, and the ears, and the mouth. So the reason why we stop in this stage is I want to give Bunny, let me go ahead and block in this little chin area. Had a little bit of water, but just fill that blank canvas there. Because your mind will start working on it, because you're not making a connection with your bunny. So what we want to do is, let's do the eyes. Once we get the eyes in, we connect more to what we're working on, but I don't want you to think about eyeballs or bunny, or I just want you to think about shapes in this part. But this will give you more of a connection to what you're painting on. So let's go ahead and take the black, and we're going to base in this pupil here. So the pupil on the bunny runs kind of in the center, and it doesn't go all the way to the outer edge of his iris. It's kind of on the edge of that iris, if that makes sense. So let's go take and it kind of bleeds in just a bit. Now it's hard to see what I'm doing because the blue and the black are very similar. With this side, we're going to do the same thing. Don't take that black all the way out to the edges. We're just going to put it down the center and bleed it out just a bit. Now this bunny has brown eyes, so now we're going to lay the mid-tone in. So I want you to take your magenta, and let's mix it right here, and some yellow, and we're going to make an orange. And when we lay that on top of that blue, it will darken that up quite a bit. And I'm just going to make a nice, there we go. Maybe a little bit more of the yellow. So mixing the yellow and the pink will make you a nice, pretty orange. A little bit more there. And yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay, now we're going to lay this in this bunny's eyes. I'm going to take some paint off my brush so it's not so much. And we're going to start laying this in. And I'm going to go ahead and put this all the way around that bunny's eyes. A lot of times I go back in and have to redefine my pupil, which is fine. All right, see how that blue underneath really darkened up the orange that we just laid on top of it. So it makes it more of a realistic. I'm going to take a little bit of that. I just smudged his eye on the outer edge, no worries, because I can always take quiet and there's no wrong in taking your finger and smudging it out. Remember, we don't want hard edges, and so that little smudge there is going to look perfectly fine because we just softened that edge of his eye, so we just made a softer line. All right, I'm going to take my black back in and go and redefine that pupil just a bit. And then while I've got the black on my brush, I'm going to do the other pupil. I'm going to go ahead and put some nose holes in him, his nostrils in. All right. So let's go down here and look. He's got little nostrils right here, so let's put those in. Just a little suggestion of a nose hole. They kind of go up just a bit. And just like that. Same on this side. Bunnies have such adorable noses. And then he has this little divot right here, which we're going to leave, but I'm going to go ahead and darken this little area right here, and then right underneath his mustache. Those of you that have bunnies will have to correct me in my terminology and what I'm saying. So this little divot here and this mustache, I know those aren't correct bunny anatomical terms. And then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to define his mouth a little bit more. So let's go in, let's define that sweet little mouth. He has a little bit of a frowny look, and we're going to go ahead and emphasize that. Bunnies crack me up. I've always loved bunnies. They are adorable. Any other areas of black that we might want to pop in? Maybe perhaps underneath the chin area, a little black there. And what I did was I just moistened my paintbrush up just a little bit, just to let the paint flow a little bit more. And then I'm going to work its way down a little bit, soften that area up. And then let's go up here and look. His eyes are definitely outlined in black. So let's go ahead, and I'm using my little flat brush here still, and I'm going to outline those eyes. So I just moistened my water or my brush and then dipped it in my paint, so it'll make the paint flow a little bit easier out from my brush. And then we're going to outline those eyes. And then so outline the inside of those eyes. And then I'm seeing a little bit of dark here. Just to add drama, I'm going to add just a touch there. A little dark right here. And a little dark right here under this eye. I'm going to add that in just to add some drama. And a little bit around the nose just to add suggestions of the direction of the hair. And then a little bit up in here. And I'm just kind of, if you'll see how I'm doing my brush, I'm kind of just adding in the suggestions. And then let's take some of this down here and just to recede his mouth just a little bit further back. So again, look and see where you are seeing colors and then apply those colors. You're going to see them differently than I see them, which is what makes painting and art so wonderful because everyone sees things differently. All right, we're going to go back to the eyes. And we're going to work on the eyes, the ears, and the nose now again. So grabbing your number 4 flat, we're going to start putting in some lighter colors in these eyes. So I'm going to lighten them up with a little bit of yellow. So I should have given this a little bit more time to set up. Again, I soften that just a bit, and then on this side. And then I'm going to soften this where it bled into the black. We want it nice and soft because the pupil sets in. And we don't want the pupil like popping out, if that makes sense. There, that's better. Now I'm going to go back into my yellow. And then what I'm looking for is like color. Where can I add? There, a little shine. I'm going to go back in a little bit of this orange here, darken this up, this one up. So it's all a matter of going back in, darkening, lightening, keep leading that eye out. Darkening, lightening, and refining. So it's all a matter of constant check and recheck. There we go. I'm going to go back in and redo this pupil just a bit. And I'm putting it in and making sure I don't get a hard line there. Still a little hard. I'm going to soften that. Here. And then I'm seeing some different colors in the reflection of his eye, which is gorgeous. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pop in some yellow here. And I might want to lighten that up, but I'm going to see what I get here. So I'm seeing a nice, yeah, I'm going to lighten some yellow up. So I'm going to take some white and yellow and make a lighter yellow so it will pop out just a little bit more. So I'm seeing a little bit right there. I'm going to go a little bit on the outside edge and like that. And a little bit right there. Now, when I look up into my camera, I see areas that are too stark. So I'm going to take those areas out. And it's all a matter of just working and reworking, softening edges. So I'm softening the edges of that paint I just laid in. That's looking a little better, although I'm seeing a kind of a lopsidedness to this eye here. Now that I look up in the camera, I'm going to fix that. So taking a photo also of your, there, that fixed that. Now let's let that set and we'll move on to the nose. So let's look at the nose. The nose has a lot of yellow in it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fill this top part, looks like, with Indian yellow. And this is where it gets fun because you can do whatever you want to. And then I'm going to run that Indian yellow down here and down here. And then I'm seeing some Indian yellow right in here along where that white little mustache thingy that I can't think of, I don't know the name of. We're going to pop some in there. And I'm seeing some of that yellow right there on his chinny chopper. There, I added a little darker yellow to tone down that light yellow, but the light yellow is still peeking out and underneath it, so I like that. Okay. Still want to soften this area right here. So painting is all about working around. So you see an area, go back to it. So softening that edge there. Okay, so now we've got that blocked in. Let's look at the rest of his nose. It's more of, I'm seeing some Indian yellow right up in here. Let's go to his nose, or his ears, while we got the Indian yellow. And I'm going to pop in some Indian yellow right in here. Just right there, like he's got some light shining through those ears. And then another right in there. Perhaps a little bit right there. All right, so then let's take some lighter yellow. And then let's fill in the rest of this nose. And I'm popping it right over that pink line that we had created. And then we can also add different colors as we go along. And then there's a little bit of white, right? Lighter color right there. And I'm seeing that yellow even right up here where the light's reflecting off of his fur. So I'm going to add some in right there. And even right up here. And then some on this, where the light's reflecting. And then I'm adding a little bit of that lighter near the yellow that we laid on to make it kind of, again, trying to catch the light shining through that bunny's ears. All right. Let's go back into this orange that we created for the eyes, and let's soften that up with a little bit of white. And let's go back into that nose, and let's add some areas here. And then one here. And I'm going to go ahead, I like that color. I'm going to go ahead and do that little snippet under his nose with it. Okay, let's go into some light blue. So take your blue, wash your brush out, take your blue, and then let's go ahead and add some white to that blue. And we're going to dive down in here in this area around that nose, where there's a shadow on his little white mustache here. And then he's got white right here, and there's a shadow there, and white all the way down his little and then I'm seeing a lot of that blue color right in there. Now up there and here in the eyes where he's going to be white, I'm seeing a little blue shadowing there as well. So go ahead and take your blue up in that area. And then here at the base of the fur that's running into his ears, I'm going to add some of that at the base of that here. Same with this area here. And then I'm seeing some white areas down here, so I'm going to go ahead and give it the suggestion of the shadowing. And a little bit up in here on his nose. Let me go ahead and make some more of that up, of my light blue. So just looking around that photo and seeing where are you seeing light blue, because like I said, you're going to see it differently than what I am seeing. And make sure you're going in the direction of the hair. See a little bit of that light highlights up here. A little bit right here as well. All right. So he's looking blotchy at this point. That's quite all right. Let's go back in and make that connection with the eyes. So look at your eyes. I'm seeing, when I look into the camera, I'm seeing this right here area bothers me. He looks like his pupils loppy. So I'm going to straighten that up. And I'll straighten that up with some orange right here. That's a little better. Do you know what? I think I'm going to make the pupils a little bit bigger. So I'm going to wipe my brush out and go back into that pupil. Make it just had some water getting ready to drip on my, there. That looks better to me on that one. Let's see if we can fix this one. Better. Let's go. Little. That's looking better. but I think it's still the top part of this eye right there is bothering me. It looks a little bit smaller than the other eye. So I'm going to go back in with the orange and try to fix that. Okay, that's a little better. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to give the eye some life now. So I want you to clean out your brush. We're going to use the same number 4 little flat brush. And let's dive into this light blue, but let's make it even lighter blue. So take your white into the light blue and make a real light blue. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a little, think this through here. Yeah, this way. A little smudge right there and a little smudge right there. And we're also going to do a little moisture right here and a little moisture right here. And then we're going to also got a little shine on his eye, on the outer, where the eye reflects the outer edge there. There we go. Now we're getting closer. Let's take the end of our brush, the very end, this part, and we're going to dip it right into that white paint so that we get a nice little bit of white on there. Let me get it in front of the color so you can see. And we're going to put it right there in the center of that dot, or in the center of that blue highlight we just put on, and then right there as well. So that gave his eye moisture, reflection from light, and gives him more life. Now we'll work on that as we work on the painting. So we'll add even more color to his eyes. So let's go in now to some pink. So I'm going to pick up the filbert. The filbert means the rounded edge right here on the brush. It's not a flat, straight brush. And it's a number 4 filbert. And I'm going to go into some pink. So I'm going to take some white. I'm going to make some pink here. So I'm going to take some of this pink, and we're going to make a nice, beautiful pink. And we're going to go ahead and fill in the rest of these ears here. Same with this side here. And then I'm seeing some pink in his fur, so I'm going to go ahead and add some of that in while I'm here. There's a little bit of pink right there that I'm seeing. I'm seeing even a touch of pink right here. Touch of pink around his nose. A little pink around the eye. And then I'm seeing some pink right there as well. Okay, he's slowly coming together. So what I want to do now is let's lay in the white. So I'm going to go back to my shorter, my littler brush, the number 4 flat brush, and I'm going to go into some white. Now, there's a little bit of blue because I've been smearing in my white that I've got in this, which is fine with me because we always add pure white when we're finishing out. So let's go ahead and lay in those white eyes. And then over here on this eye. And it kind of has some little bit of that going on there on that eyebrow, and same with this area right here. Now, let's lay in the white areas of his little mustache nosy thing. And it's just barely fuzzy. Remember, not much hair, little short hairs. So if you're, think little tiny hairs, so no big strokes here. And then he has like a little white on top of this. And then also on top of his nose as well, right there, that I'm adding on top of that yellow that we had put down. Also on his little chin, there's white. And I'm going to go up into these hair, the dark area just a bit, and that dark will seem to make it fade out. And take your finger and you can rub it as well. Now, let's go into the hairs up in his ears. We're going to give them suggestions of hairs all along through here. And again, I'm just using my barely touching my paint brush on the surface. And then another on this side as well. Again, look at the direction the hair is going in the ear and follow that direction. Just like that. And see how when the blue underneath it adds depth to it as well? There's a little white over here on this ear. Just a little touch. And then just a tiny touch on this ear as well. There's a beautiful highlight on those ears that I want to come back to. Let's see, there is white as we go. About the areas where you laid down the blue, that would be kind of in the areas that we're looking at to lay down this white as well. Now, for the mouth, his hairs just barely come over his mouth, just a touch. So kind of giving that illusion. And then, like I said, anywhere where you lay down a little bit of that light blue. I'm also seeing this yellow highlighted. All right, we're coming along. Let's soften this mustache edge just a touch here. Soften that. That hard edge there. And then that blue that's laid down, softening that as well. So you can see the yellow peeking out from underneath that blue, the white that we just laid on top, and you can see the blue peeking out underneath that. All right, let's take a look at him and see if there's any other areas that we really want to refine before we start laying some of these accent colors in. I'm thinking I want to refine that hard edge right there just a bit. So let me just take my wet brush and kind of blend. If it's still, sometimes the paint just won't allow you to do it. I'm going to take that nose in just a bit. That nose hole's kind of large right here. So I'm going to curve that in just a bit. There. And also took out the hard line as well. Okay. Let's see here. So what we want to look at now is some accent colors that will really make that pop. So we haven't added any lavender, and I think lavender would be really good to add where the pinks are. So let's go ahead and make us a lavender, and that would be the magenta and the blue, and that's a dark lavender there. I think I want to add a little bit more magenta to it to make it even more purpley. So we got a nice dark purple here. That would be good to lay in some of these dark areas to soften up that black that we laid down. I want to make it a little lighter so you can distinguish that it's purple. So I added a little white to that. Let's see. Where was I? I think I was right in here. So laying it kind of on that black color to soften that up. And then the black is still coming through just a touch. And so it still adds depth. I think I'm going to go all the way around this bunny nose and feather that paint out just a bit, just to define that nose a little more. Let's come down in here into the shadow areas right there, around his little mouth. And I'm going back up onto this black to soften that black up, because we want our bunny to be soft, and black gives the illusion of hard edges. So just going back in and softening that black up. So this little area right here is kind of bothering me right underneath that mustache. It needs to flow a little bit better. And I'm going to make up a nice green. So let's take this blue and a little bit of the yellow and mix it together. And I'm mixing it in this light blue because I want a light green. I'm going to lighten that up just a little bit more. So that's getting better even more. And let's make a nice light green here. And I want to go in to the white areas that and let's go ahead, and the green is a nice cool shade, so and then I'm seeing that green right here on his little chinny chopper. And you can add it here in the white, just a touch. And I'm adding it just underneath that, just to kind of blend that in so it's not such a hard edge right there. All right. Let's go into, in fact, let's get some white, pure white. So I'm taking my number 4 brush again, and I'm using small brushes because I'm using a small canvas. If I was using a bigger canvas, definitely want to use bigger brushes. So I'm going to put this white in, and I like my white pretty thick, so I'm going to lay that in on top of the white that we had, but I want to leave color peeking through. So lay your white in, and then lay it in pretty thick here where the hair is and the ears. So I want texture to my painting. So I don't know if you can see the texture of that I'm adding with this white. And then we're going to go ahead and highlight the edges of his little bunny face here. Make that pop out. And again, think of shapes. Try not to think of a bunny nose, but of a shape that you're trying to recreate. And then down here on his little mouth is white. Same with this one. He has little white edges down here on his the bottom of his chin. And I'm just kind of popping in just some white to make him pop out just a little bit more. And then he has white down in his body as well. So adding, I think I'm going to use a bigger brush definitely on the body. So I'm getting a number 4 Big Filbert. He has more white on this side of his face, so I'm going to go ahead and his hair kind of goes together around his chest area, so I'm trying to create the illusion of that hair going in that direction without creating spotty brush marks. I'm going to go ahead and highlight this area right here. And what I'm doing here is I'm creating just some dry brush strokes, the direction of the way his hair is growing. I'm going to go ahead and break up some of these. Add a little bit more thickness to this. and depth. So see how that adds depth when you layer the thick paint on top. But I don't like this hard edge that we're getting right here. So I'm going to take a brush and wet that down and soften the edges right in here because I'm not particularly fond of that hard edge right there. Oh, that's better. Much better. We're going to go ahead and there. So we still have this connection of the head and the neck, or the head and the body, but yet it doesn't flow all in one piece. You can tell the separation there. So I'm going to go ahead and add some more white as well up here, a little bit more thicker paint because I like thick paint and I cannot lie. And then I'm going to add more thicker paint to his little muzzle or mustache or whatever that's called. And then right there. Better. And still want to add a little thicker paint to his ears. So I'm going to grab my little flat 4 brush, little flat one. I'm going to add a little thicker paint there. Just because I like texture. This ear would be a good place to take a line for a walk or your paintbrush for a walk. So there, I took my paintbrush for a walk right on that ear. And what I mean by that is make an interesting mark with your brush. Anywhere in your painting, make your signature mark with your brush. All right, so let's take a look here. And I want to make, let's go ahead and get in our fluorescents. So I'm going to grab the fluorescent pink and the fluorescent orange, which there's not much of this orange here. So I'm going to dip my brush directly into this bottle. So I'm going to use that orange first. And I'm going to take my brush and I'm dipping it right in the bottle here. So I'm liable to make a mess because it's getting it on the handle as well. So I'm going to stay back from that. And I'm going to start laying in some of this beautiful fluorescent orange. I'm going to add some to his little nose and his little pointer right there. And then a little up here. And then I'm going to add some to his eyes as well. I'm going to add some, there's a highlight right there that I want to capture and like the sun's bouncing off of him. And this fluorescent orange just makes me think of the sunlight. I'm gonna, yeah. Okay, I think that that's good for the orange. Let's go for the pink. So the pink, I think I can pour some out on my... So I'm going to take some pink and let's make him pop with the pink. Let's see if I can get this in the camera here. I'm going to drop some right there. Now I may take this pink and add some white to it to lighten it up just a bit too. I'm going to clean up my brush handle so I don't get my orange paint all over me and everything else. So let's pop in some of this pink. And I love this pink. My favorite color. It's my happy color. And then I'm gonna... that is gorgeous. And I'm going to lay some pink right here on top of this nose. We just got to have a pink bunny nose. Again, just making some interesting marks down there. And then I think I'm going to lighten that pink up just a bit with some white. So take your white and let's go in that pink color and make it nice pastel-y pink. Let's go back in and I'm going to add just a little bit underneath that mustache. And a little bit of pink here on his lip. I think we're almost near in completion here. And I think I'm going to add some of that pink to the fluorescent pink. So I'm cleaning out my brush. I'm going back into the fluorescent pink and I'm going to add a touch right there where I put the orange in. Yeah, I'm liking that. I'm liking that a lot, and I think one more thing to make that pop, and I think some light yellow on that eye. I'm mixing white and Indian yellow, and I think just a little bit of that there. And as I'm looking, there. Yes, I think that helped his eyes. One more little. Okay. We are starting to wrap him up, or her up, whatever you want to call her. We can also add more white, which might be interesting as well. So get into your white. And let's add more white on this rabbit. Got a little clot of paint on my brush there. I need to wipe off. And just adding a little bit more white to her to make her really you can see the layers that we have underneath her is really standing out in this, and I'm liking that a lot. Okay, one more. I think she needs a jag like that. Yes. Okay, we're about to wrap her up. We're going to add the whiskers, but I want to redefine just a bit. So when we're adding in color, we tend to lose some other things that we have. So her mouth edge, so she has a nice little mouth edge right there. I'm going to just barely, with my number 4 little flat brush, I'm redefining that back in with my phthalo blue. And I think we about got her done. Oh, let's take the nose. I've kind of gotten a little carried away with that. So we'll take those nose holes back in. And then the little splice between her right there. All right, let's put her whiskers and her eyelashes in. So I'm going to grab a liner brush. This is a script brush right here. The script brush, you can use a liner brush like this. So any one will work. There's a key to using it though. So when you're using, matter of fact, I think I'll use this one, the little short one. When you're using a liner brush, as you're stroking out, you push down and then you lift up as you go out to create the whisker. I'll show you what I mean by that. Now we have a white background, so the gray, which I may need to make some more of, yes I do, because it's has dried out on me. We're going to make some of this gray up, and I'm going to thin it down with my water. This dilutes the color as well, so it won't be so harsh. And so what we're going to do is we're going to, and a lot of her whiskers are really dark, so let's go ahead and go, now that I'm looking at the picture, let's darken up those whiskers, because whiskers really add a sweet touch to Right, now we got a nice gray color, and we're going to go with this eyelashes first. So right here, we're going to put these eyelashes in. Now, one of the things I see people do with eyelashes on animals is they tend to get them too thick. I want to thin that down just a little bit more. So look at your reference photo and look at the direction those eyelashes are going. And then there's a whisker right there. Let me thin that down some more. And then there's some whiskers coming out from underneath her eyelashes. And while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and resharpen that line on that eye. And then let's take a look at her ears. She has, I don't see any big ones coming out of her ears. There are some little. And then let's go to this side. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. And we're going to redefine that eyeliner on her. And then let's go ahead and put a couple whiskers in. Again, I'm thinning that paint down so it really flows easy. And what I'm doing is I'm using water to do it. And then let's do her underneath of her eyes here. And then there's a whisker that goes out like that. And then she's got all sorts of whiskers coming out of her. And then right up here of this area, there's whiskers. She's got quite a few whiskers, so don't be afraid of the whiskers. There's some that run across her eye as well. So be sure and look at your reference photo. Some overlap each other, so make sure you overlap a few. I think she's about done. You can put just a few little suggestions of whiskers on her little muzzle there or nose, like some small little dots that would suggest whiskers kind of like poking towards you. And a few little whiskers in her ears as well. All right, I think we have neared the completion of our bunny. Okay, so what do you think of your bunny? Oh, I know what you think. Let me answer that question for you. You love your bunny because you know what? Your bunny is a unique expression of who you are and nobody else, regardless of how much you tried to look like mine or not. This bunny is your unique expression of who you are, and therefore this bunny is uniquely you. It's just like your thumbprint. Nobody can paint this bunny like you just painted it. It is all yours. So good job. Congratulations. You did it. You painted a beautiful little bunny. So name your bunny, sign your bunny, and then give her away or keep her for your own. But congratulations, and I will see you in the next class.